from? You know where I'm from? Where you from? Fuck the elite, nigga. We from Chicago, nigga. Hey, yo, you see Savannah. Right here, we getting medieval today. You heard? Rock 'em on. Don't hit me. Oh, Donald Trump.
Yo, bro, if you got
super kicks,
get out my face, bro.
Take that blood! Take that blood! Take that blood! Get that blood!
What are they chanting?
I think they want you to get hot, my brother, man.
bing bang.
Tiger style.
Don't like a snitch, nigga. That's that shit I don't like.
こんにちは、皆さん。I'm Great Joker Unite Empire。今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるんですよ。みんな、ブローキンテーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our reigning, defending, Broken Predictions champion. How you doing tonight, Rome?
You know, I'm doing great because things are going great. All In last Sunday was fucking dope. Starfield comes out technically tomorrow, but I think I have to wait till Friday to play it because I got the physical edition. But other than that, everything's turning up pretty well.
I would agree, man. Welcome everybody. Not the greatest episode of Dynamite tonight, but I think I kind of already knew that was going to happen. Tony Khan had announced that he was giving anybody that wanted the night off to go to Bray Wyatt's funeral, stuff like that. So I kind of knew we were going to have a mediocre episode. But I really do think that main event absolutely salvaged the episode, man. That Orange Cassidy versus Pentagon Dark was freaking awesome.
So here's my thing. I agree with your sentiment about the show. I have my issues with the show. I have my issues with All Out. We'll get into it. However, I do just kind of find it hilarious. So not only was Bray Wyatt's funeral today, and Tony obviously said, hey, if you got to go to that, go to that. There's currently a hurricane in Florida, which a lot of the talent live in Florida. Tony also told them, hey, stay home, protect your families.
I didn't even know that one.
Yeah, oh, well, Tony Khan, see, here's the funny thing. People just like to just shit on the product. Tony Khan tweeted before the show saying, and it's actually more than that, he said, due to minor illnesses to big talent traveling this week, plus Hurricane Idalia affecting flights, I've had to change some plans for tonight's AEW Dynamite.
I wasn't even aware of the hurricane affecting it.
So there's a Category 3 hurricane in Florida, which again, a lot of the talent live in Florida. They can't come to the show. Apparently some big name talent was sick. Jack and Punk are suspended, which we'll talk about that as well.
Yep.
And obviously Bray Wyatt's funeral. So I mean, looking at hurricane isn't supposed to hit till next week at the earliest. Ryan, I don't think that's true. I could have sworn I read in the news today that it landed this afternoon.
Probably two different hurricanes. Hurricane season, they come back. But
I think you might be looking. It is hurricane season, Ryan. So I mean,
I'm not sure. I didn't even see that. So
I can look it up real quick to fact check for sure. But I'm pretty sure I saw it in the.
Let's start off with the Punk and Jack being suspended thing. Now, I'm not even sure at this point if that is true, you know? I've heard that people have talked to Punk or someone in Punk's camp, and Ryan's saying, I live here, buddy. Okay, got you, Ryan,
I don't
got
know.
you.
Look, all I'm saying is the New York Times says Category 3 hurricane has hit landfall. Adalia battered small towns along Florida's Big Bend, bringing surging water to Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm looking at a video of flooding.
Okay,
I assume
there we
Crystal
go.
River, Florida.
Early Wednesday
Again,
morning, yeah, maybe it missed you, Ryan. Ryan, you're probably like right over there where it went right past you or something.
well, yeah, so the hurricane came in from the Gulf of Mexico, I believe. So this one, at least I think.
Oh, that's a
Hold on,
panhandle side then.
yeah, I believe so.
I guess that's
Yeah,
what you would
okay.
call it.
Yeah, that's what happened. It came in through that way. It hit landfall Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Huh,
today.
okay,
It hit landfall today at 8 p.m.
there you go.
Oh wait, no, before that. This is just an updated since 8 p.m. where it is. It's currently in South Carolina.
Okay,
Like the eye of the storm is currently in South Carolina. So
got you. But so I've heard that Punk side is saying that they haven't even heard that they're suspended at this point, you know, and I'm hearing that they haven't even talked to each other since All In, you know. It's tough to know what the actual truth is right now, isn't it?
I do think that. And so like my thing is, and I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it again because I don't know. I have people apparently just because he's my favorite, people think that I have not said this. So I will repeat myself one final time. If CM Punk is the problem, he should be fired. I want what's best for AEW and the company. I don't know though. I'm not there. So like you said, there are conflicting reports, conflicting stories. They both were suspended for the investigation. Apparently Tony Khan was right there. So if Tony Khan's right there, he knows what happened. So I don't know. Could it be a work? Maybe. I don't know. Do I
If
care
it's a
at this
work,
point
that'd just
about it?
be like at this point, I'm like, why would you embarrass your biggest event with something like that? I can't imagine it being a work. If it
Right.
is,
And
it's one of the worst devised ever. It just put a big, another big black eye on a big event that they had. I
see, I
actually
don't
hope
look at
it's,
it.
you know,
So I don't look at it as extreme as that. I mean, like you and Coach Nick have said many a times, these types of things happen. I mean, when there's a fight at an NFL practice, we don't, maybe a few jokes, but it happens. And I'm not excusing the action or the behavior, but I think to take this small incident and let it completely overshadow the excellent show that was All In, regardless of what happened between Punk and Jack, that show from top to bottom was freaking fantastic, excellent. And I just think it's ridiculous and straight up laughable to look at the entire show and just talk about this. I
exactly.
don't know.
That's why, like, even in our Discord, I was trying to get people to just stop talking about Punk. I was like, man, it literally since Sunday, the Discord has not stopped talking about Punk. And I'm like,
Which is
God,
funny
for
because
for
I
a lot of
haven't.
you guys that really don't like Punk very much, like he's been living in your heads for 4 days straight. Let's get over it. Let's talk about the amazing matches that everyone else had. Like, did you see Nick Jackson's Instagram?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I
That
thought
was
that was
freaking fantastic, dude. That had to have taken a while for him to take the time to put out a post for every single like other person that had a match. It was great. I loved it.
I agree. And again, like, look, like CM Punk is my favorite wrestler. And I'm sitting here telling you that if he's the problem, he needs to go. I think Tony Khan needs to do what's right for his business. But at the same time, like I can acknowledge that, but still also look at what the entire company is doing and being like, damn, that was a really great show and not let it overshadow it. I
Yeah.
think, like you said, it's kind of funny because the people that have the most issues with Punk are the ones who have just been going on and on about him. I haven't thought about CM Punk before today since Monday morning when I was reading up a little bit, or I guess it was Monday afternoon. So that I just went about my day. It's like, all right, well, they're both suspended, so we'll see what happens. Um,
Coach is here.
cool. Maybe now
So this hurricane here, real quick. Let me go to the old screen here. So this was the path from it here, Ryan. I'm not sure if you're still here, bud, but it looks like it kind of like made landfall in the Jacksonville area almost. It is in South Carolina now, but I'm not sure how it missed you, or I'm not sure how you didn't really get it. You know what I mean? But all good, no worries.
And coach, the reason I didn't is because it didn't matter. Like, haven't checked the Discord.
Yeah, he hasn't checked.
Sure, I definitely didn't read some stuff.
But like what I was getting at here is it's tough to know the truth here. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of. I find it crazy at how quickly this was released. I saw a guy who was in the audience at Wembley, and he was like, apparently, in the time that it took Hook and Jack to have their match, have the incident backstage, and then him have his wife, his wife was not there with him. His wife messaged him about it 15 minutes after the show started. His wife messaged him about the incident that had happened backstage. So he's like, how on earth did somebody backstage leak this to whoever they leaked it to that quickly? You know what I mean? Like, it was so fast how that spread. It spread like immediately.
See, here's the thing. And so what I mean by that, coach, is obviously the fight matters and they were both suspended. But what I'm saying is that why would you take that event and then just completely not talk about All In? Like, that's my thing. It's like what are we doing here? Like, I've already said it, like, fire who needs to be fired and move on. Because it's a distraction and it's not fair to everyone on All In that busted their ass.
Yeah, and we've already found out that another thing that was said was untrue. So apparently the whole thing with Miro, where Punk got into an altercation with Miro, and asked him to go outside. So the way that happened is after Punk's match with Joe, and this has been confirmed by Miro's camp and Punk's camp. After Punk's match, Miro came up to him because he witnessed the incident with Jack, and he said to Punk, "Hey, are you okay?" And Punk's like, "Yeah, I'm great unless you want to fight me too." Kind of joking like friends, right? Like, unless you want to fight me too, then I'm not okay, right? And then he said to Miro, like, "Hey, you want to go outside?" Like, he was joking with them with a smile and in jest. And Miro was like, "Nah, man, everything's cool. Take it easy." And somebody saw this and apparently it blew up. And the thing is some people that are saying that they witnessed it directly are saying that's not how it happened. But we got Punk and Miro's camp saying that's what happened.
So hold on real quick, because obviously, Coach, if you're still here, I know Coach is in the chat right now. He was saying he was leaving, but I just want to make my point clear, because Coach is a regular. We talk to Coach all the time, so I just want to make sure it's understood. My point, no one is talking about
but it added to it. It added to the reason it's blown up so big.
It did, but hold on. I want to get my point across. And I want to make sure it's understood. If Punk's the problem, whoever the problem is, then it needs to be taken care of.
Get rid of him.
And I'm going to have faith in the company that they're going to do it. And there's a chance that they won't do it. I don't know. Right now, they're both suspended.
Yeah.
I don't think suspension is the right way to go. I think I would fine them personally. I would fine CM Punk. Apparently, CM Punk was fined for the Hangman promo that he cut after Collision a few weeks ago. And that was apparently, I think they said it was 5 digits. So I think that's a good fine for that. I would have fined Punk for what he did. Not suspend him. That's just me. I would have fined him. I wouldn't have suspended him.
Now,
because the suspending him doesn't do anything. He has money. It's not like he's gonna hurt to take a week off. You know what I mean? Or however many weeks he has off. But I kind of want to make that point clear. When I say I don't care, it doesn't matter or anything like that. What I'm saying is that I'm going to let that handle itself, and we're talking about it right now. But I think that it's extremely weird to do this whole act like All In completely didn't happen. That's my thing. And it's not just the Discord. It's really the discourse in general. And it's just fucking weird. Like I get it. Punk's in the wrong if the story's true. And as I've said 4 times already, I agree with Coach on that. TK needs to put his foot down and do
absolutely.
something. I
100%
agree with that. But there's a lot of he said, she said, so I'm not going to take a strong stance on it one way or the other, except for the fact that whoever the problem is needs to go. And I do believe that it's been an issue. So do I think they need to fire CM Punk? No, I don't think you need to fire CM Punk, but you do. That's just what it is. So
I
like,
actually think that everything has gotten to a point where it's just time for Punk to retire and move on. I really do. Um, I don't know. He's become that cranky old man that he talked about back in the day. Uh, like when a few things happen and it all seems to come back to one person, maybe that person is the problem. You know what I mean? But I really do think TK needs to do something here where everybody's going to be like, oh shit, okay, Tony actually pulled the trigger on something. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be something of note. I see
well,
like
and
90-day
another thing,
suspension in chat. I think that's fine. But to be honest, if I was TK, I would ask Punk to part ways. I really would.
well, here's the problem, right? And here's the thing, and I know everybody wants to go at TK and Tony and give him all this shit. And again, it's his company. He needs to put his foot down. But the network likes CM Punk. Am I wrong? Like, the network has made it clear that they want CM Punk. All the dirt sheets, when they report about the network and CM Punk, what is it? It's that the network wants CM Punk for Collision. Collision
Yeah.
might not happen without Punk. Tony says otherwise, but if people are saying that the network is telling them this, the Andrew Zarians of the world, that's going to affect Tony's decisions. And like, considering how important TV deals are to make your wrestling company thrive, like, it's a shitty situation. And coach says he's just the boss, it's his company. And I get that, but at the end of the day, like, he needs the network. Just, yes, that's the problem. The network doesn't give a fuck about any of this backstage drama. I guarantee you the network gives zero shits about this, about any of the drama. They are not, they're looking at the dollars. Yes, they think they see CM Punk as a draw, which I think he is. People can disagree, and that's fine. But like, that's what the network looks at. And if the network says, Tony, you need to make sure Punk's on your roster, like, they are currently trying to figure out this big TV deal for them. Like, the company needs that TV deal to move to that next level that we talk about, where it's like them doing these Wembley shows every year, them getting bigger. Like, that's the next step, or is this big TV deal?
Now, I do want to.
And that's the thing.
I do
So
want
it's
to
like,
point out here that we do have a little bit of an anomaly over the last few weeks where did you see the ratings for Collision when it was headlined by, I believe it was FTR and Bullet Club Gold, or was that Bullet Club Gold and the Elite? I forget which one it was, but there was a week where it was main evented by Bullet Club Gold, and they had the highest ratings almost ever. So
here's another thing that, and I wanted to kind of circle back, and because I think coaches, this is a great conversation we're having. I'm really into it. But the thing is that you got to look at, like, coach had said, what does this show to Max? And my response to what that shows Max is, look at the media scrum that follows All In and see what Maxwell Jacob Friedman has to say about it. Like, that guy is a locker room leader. I don't care. Like I don't even know where I'm going with that statement. He is just a locker room leader. This guy laid it out, and he put it best. And he's, and is Punk an issue in the locker room? Yeah, but like, I would also, just to be completely fair, because again, I'm not defending Punk here. I've made it very clear I'm not defending Punk. I feel like I have to keep saying that because he is my favorite wrestler of all time. That's not changing, by the way. It is what it is. But
I really did like what Max said there.
Oh yeah, what Max says is fucking beautiful. But like, we need to look at this objectively, in a sense that, like, is Punk starting shit in some cases? Yes. But I mean, there are little things that, like, if the story is to be believed about Jack and Punk, right? Where Jack wanted to do a real glass spot, Punk said no. And like, TV approved, like, AEW approved it, but Punk stepped in and said no. Number one, you don't want to use real glass. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go against CM Punk on that one. I think that, like, no, you should not use real glass as much as possible. It's glass. Can't fuck with it. So, like, if that's the first point, and then the next thing we see is Jack calling him out on the camera, then Jack is instigating. And, like, yes, I do want to see CM Punk be the bigger man and let cooler heads prevail. But it's just what's like. I'm just saying we need to be objective. That being said, if CM Punk's a problem, he should go. But
Now, we haven't even gotten to the other pop part here where there's reports that Punk and Tony Khan kind of got into it, and Punk was basically berating him and basically told him he was going to quit. Now, I haven't heard anything confirming that, but I haven't heard anything denying it either.
So that is where I do take an issue with what CM Punk did.
Absolutely. That's why my ultimate conclusion is I'm like, get rid of the guy. You know what I mean? If that happened, if he was yelling and screaming at Tony Khan before the show, now granted, if it was because of that whole travel bullshit where that fucking their travel agent who's a punk or who's a he's an anti-punk guy, he's an elite stan. If he really did that to CM Punk and left him high and dry at the airport, that's a huge issue. But
again,
you can't berate the boss like that. You can't do it.
Again, there's just so much he said, she said, and that's where my original point comes from, where it's like, I'm just not gonna give it much mind. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna know what happened.
Yeah.
But like, if you ask my take on it, I've given it. And coach says that's what's really upsetting.
Yeah, and what sucks though, Nick, is that's what we really don't know exactly what happened. That's the one thing that pissed me off the most, but it's the one thing we know the least about.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, there's not a lot of confirmation on that. And look, the problem is that with the CM Punk situation, the entire time there are 3 different dirt sheet writers, reporters in the wrestling media saying 3 different things from the situation. Everyone has different stories, and that's where the problem comes in. Where, like, so Jeff, you brought up the Miro situation, right? And I think that the Miro situation, we could say that nobody's talking about it, but it is a perfect example of why you need to stop and look at this and just say, look, I'm not there. I don't know. Because it's like it's one thing if everybody's telling the same story and then like one person is saying something different, because that's interesting. But when you have multiple stories saying multiple different things of multiple levels of severity, when that Miro story came out, it sounded like Punk was picking fights with everybody.
Yeah. When it first came out, I heard that Punk wanted to fight Miro, and then Miro was banned from Collision. And then I heard that it didn't happen at all. It was completely being denied it happened at all. And then I heard that Miro's side and Punk's side are both saying that they were joking, and Miro asked Punk if he was okay. Like, there was so many different things being reported, and like the way that it all flooded out at the same time. I'm not supporting this theory at all, but I saw some people on the old X there, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, who had a huge list of people that are using Twitter and using social media, and it looks like they're bullying the shit out of Punk. It really does. But you know what I mean? I'm just kind of just putting it out there. Like,
yeah, for sure. And I get that. I totally do. And like, I also want to like reiterate that if Punk doesn't leave the company, right? If Punk doesn't get fired, if Punk is the problem and doesn't get fired, people are going to shit on Tony Khan. And people can agree with me or disagree with me. It is what it is on this. But you can't hold that a lot against TK because he's in a very rough position. Jeff, if somebody said to you, Jeff, I'm going to pay you hundreds of millions of dollars to hang out with this dickhead. You're hanging out with that, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
For hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, you're going to say something else with, but yeah.
No, that's it. Well, I don't know. I don't know where you thought I was going to go with that. I don't want to go any further with that. But, like, Coach has been annoyed with Jack and Punk going at TK. And I get it, man. It's a very frustrating situation. But at the end of the day, like, what frustrates me is the fact that All In happens and just an excellent show. Like, my God, probably one of the best wrestling shows I've ever seen. And I stand by that.
I thought it was amazing. I really did.
It was like full gear 2021 levels of awesome, right? And I think that, like, we're talking about it now, and we're going to talk about it. Like, we don't hide from things. I haven't been in the Discord much, but it's not because I'm hiding from it. It's just because the discourse is freaking tiresome, and I feel like I'm going in a fucking loop.
Yeah,
Going nowhere.
I know.
It's going
yeah.
nowhere. So it's like, and that's not a knock on the Discord. It's a knock on the discourse in general. Like,
Yeah, like have you seen all the YouTube channels that are making the Punk videos? They have to start every video with, I know, it's another Punk video, give us a break. And I'm like, then stop fucking making them. Come on.
yeah. But so, like, that's my point with it. At the end of the day, here's what we know. We know that there's an ongoing issue between Punk and Jack. What we do know is that Jack started it. Like that, like, again, I'm being completely in the middle, unbiased. What I want is for AEW to succeed and for AEW to be around forever, because I said this in the Discord, and I'm going to continue saying it. Without AEW, don't know if I'm watching pro wrestling anymore. Not that I don't like other, like, New Japan and stuff like that, but AEW is a promotion that caters towards me. It is convenient for me in my life. I don't like Fight TV. I don't like ordering New Japan shows on the services that they have. I don't like things like that. I don't want to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch a New Japan show live. So that company just doesn't work for me in my life. AEW does. And it also runs, like, storylines, the wrestling, the way it brings in other cultures. Like, it's the promotion that, for me, if that promotion fails, I don't know if I have a place in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
like, I want AEW to succeed. That's my bottom line. So looking at it objectively, what I do know is that Jack started the fight. Now, do I want Punk to be better? Absolutely, I want Punk to be better. He's a veteran in the locker room. But we don't know the full story except for what we know. And again, the only thing that we know for sure is that Jack looked into a camera on Sunday and said, "It's real glass, you idiot," or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that we have is absolute God-honest fact, because it was what was on camera and we saw it on pay-per-view. Well, on YouTube on Sunday.
So I want to start off with why I'm upset with Jack now that you're going down this line of thinking here. So if we go back to the whole reason that Jack has an issue with Punk, and that is because Punk asked him to not use the glass, right?
Right.
So let's dissect this, because it's not like Jack was going to use glass and CM Punk himself was like, "What? That's stupid. I'm going to go tell him no." That's the farthest from the truth of what actually happened. What actually happened is Jack told all of the coaches, just like we found out, they have to get permission for these spots. He told the coaches what he wanted to do. They said, "That's not a good idea. We don't think you should do it." And he's like, "I'm going to do it anyway." And he told everybody, "No, I'm going to do it anyway." They finally went to Punk and said, "Hey, can you go to this kid and tell him no?" They're like, "We need someone from the locker room who's a leader to tell this kid, like, you've been told no by everyone. You're not doing the glass spot. So can you go tell him no?" So Punk's like, "Yeah, sure. I'll go tell him no." So Punk went to tell him no. And all of a sudden now Jack has a problem with Punk. They just used Punk as someone with a little bit of a figure of authority. And then all of a sudden now we have this fucking bullshit problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm mad at Jack.
For sure, yeah. And I'm also mad at Jack for that reason, because, like, I just think you tarnish it. Like, you had a great match with Hook on excellent Hook on Sunday.
Dude,
and
so
I think
good.
You're really nailing it as this heel character.
I didn't even think about that. Overshadowed his own match with this shit.
See, and that's the thing, but that's why I'm taking the stance I'm taking, because everyone's saying how it was overshadowed for them. I'm not letting it do that to me. I'm looking at the facts. I'm looking at it as in a very unbiased way, where it's like, look, man, I just want this company to figure it out. And, like, at the end of the day, what happens backstage, like, obviously we live in an era where, like, we want to know, and obviously I'm just like that too. I want to know what's going on backstage.
Yeah.
But, like, let the company figure it out. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not saying that the right thing is to fire Punk. I'm not saying that. Look, here's the thing. I don't think the right thing is to fire Punk. I really don't. If they do, it is what it is. It's the decision that they've made, and I can understand the justification behind it. However, I don't think that that's the right... honestly, if I was Tony Khan, I would just keep finding the... Like...
Just sit him home. Just, like... just send him home.
Here's the thing. Sending him home doesn't do anything. In my opinion, like maybe Jack's different. I don't know the money that Jack's, but we know, and Punk said many a times when he came back to AEW, he said, "I have the money. I could just sit at home." Like, telling him to go and sit at home for a week and not get paid for a week isn't going to
No, I'm
answer
saying get like done. Go sit at home for like a year till your contract's over. See ya.
I
Oh, you're
wouldn't do
saying
that
without
either.
firing him. I remember. Yeah. So you're talking
Yeah,
about.
no, again, if you ask me, I don't think the answer is to fire the guy. And I don't think the answer is to not use the guy. And maybe that's a hot take. It probably is. But
I just think if you're not gonna fire him, storylines have to come out of it. He's got to have, let's say, like Miro comes out to defend Jack now, and he has a match with Miro. You know, he's got to get through Miro to get to Jack, or vice versa. He's got to get through Jack to get to Miro, something like that. You know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is at this point. Nick, I actually had no idea he said not in this town, do it on the B show. I actually had no idea he said that.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I do think that regardless, I think Punk puts next week's pay-per-view in a very bad spot. And I think we're going to get into it and talk about All Out as we go. Luckily, I'm off tomorrow. I don't know what Jeff's doing. We're this is a great conversation that's running long, but I'm totally cool with it because I have nothing to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm good tomorrow, but I think we've kind of beaten this horse to death here, you know. Like I said, if Punk is starting all of this stuff, I think he needs to go. But, you know, it really does feel like a lot of people are starting shit with him because they don't like him, you know what I mean? And he's one of those guys, everybody knows this guy, that if you say some shit to him, you might get into a fight with him. Everybody knows that guy. And apparently that's fucking Punk, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know. It's tough to deal with those dudes. And
I agree with that because I would say, and again, objective, completely just looking at the situation. I do think that there is some validity to that point where people know that if they can mess with Punk and take a fight with Punk, Punk's going to look like the bad guy because that's his reputation. Yeah. So I do think that there is definitely some validity to that. And I think that it's also something that needs to be taken into account. Like, I don't know. Again, like Coach says, it's child shit. And it is child shit. But
yeah. Well, I mean, imagine the kid's arguing with you. You're CM Punk and you're like, bro, everybody told you no, you're not doing the glass spot. And he's like, fuck all you guys, I'm still doing it. And he's like, fine, do it on the fucking B show. You know, like, I can see where this argument came from. Like,
see, Coach, I think there's a difference between walking on eggshells and just not starting shit with someone that will fight you. Like,
yeah.
Like,
there's a big difference, yeah.
Like, look, man, like living in Philly, for example, right? Like, I'm not a fighter. Like, I don't need to fight. It's not worth my time. But there are people that I know that I've known, whether it be like working with them or whatever, that's like, if I start shit with that person's gonna want to fight me.
Yeah, that's definitely rough. Like walking down the streets in certain areas in Philly, you know.
Yeah, that's life. Some people are just like that. But so it's like, okay, well, if you want to avoid a fight, don't start a fight.
Like no eye contact.
Oh, I'm not that sad, Jeff. Jeff, you're just pathetic. I'm not saying that I don't. Well, I'm not like. Sorry, sir. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, but no, Coach, we know how he is. Like, you can still be a leader and be childish. Doesn't mean you're a good leader. You know.
I don't know. I mean, the Collision people think he's a great leader.
They try to say Dak Prescott's a leader. That's. So.
But again, no, seriously, I would argue that the Collision roster say that Punk is a great leader. So. Leadership
with the people he gets along with, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I mean, no, it's
Juice and Jay White are putting on a fucking absolute show every damn week, no matter what they're doing. So
I mean, the people that work at Collision have gone on record on social media saying it's a family. This is a locker room with strong leadership. And we don't have a problem with it.
And that goes along with the Miro asking him, "You okay, Punk? You okay?" You know.
Yeah, again, Miro is a Collision guy.
It'd be funny if he was like, "You want me to go beat up that little snot?" Like.
Miro's coming. Yeah, right. Like Miro's coming, checking on his locker room leader. Like, again, I'm not taking a side. If you're asking me to pick a side, I'm not doing it. But I am gonna look at it. You are, you said?
No, I'm not picking a side at all. I'm just trying to talk shit on Punk at this point. Like it is very childish at this point.
I'm just gonna look at it from the middle and just be like, yeah, well, this person's in the wrong. This person's in the wrong. I'm just gonna go off of what I factually know to be.
Yeah, and that's why like it's definitely frustrating not knowing all the facts. You know what I mean? Especially with a whole bunch of different people spewing the facts. You know, different what they feel are the different facts. It's just
I mean, but I will say this: if and we can make this the final thought if you want, it's fine. If Tony Khan, if three things, if Tony Khan, number one, saw the Jack Perry and Punk fight, and he knows exactly what happened, and Punk's in the wrong there, and B or two, Punk did go off on Tony Khan privately and talked to Tony and disrespected Tony. If those two things happened, and three, the network is okay with losing Punk, I think you can again make the argument to fire him.
absolutely.
And again, do I want to see anybody get fired? No. What I want from AEW is for the Elite to be there, for Punk to be there, for everyone in between to be there, and for the company to put on excellent shows. Whether they be separated via Dynamite and Collision or not. Because for a few weeks, that was great.
Yeah.
And I think it continued to work. I do think that. But again, I do think that Tony shouldn't let Punk walk all over him, especially if the network does not pressure. If the network pressures Tony to not punish Punk like that and not fire Punk, like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be like, well, the dude's trying to get hundreds of millions of dollars for an upstart wrestling company.
If it's the network, it is what it is. But hopefully
Like,
Tony gets to put his foot down here. You know, we'll see what happens. But he definitely saw what happened with the fight. Apparently, I heard that TV monitors like fell in his lap. You know what I mean? Like from the scuffle.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. So like, if that happened, I mean, then Tony knows. But I don't know. But like again, like, but you can't give Tony shit if it's about the network. If the network says no, Tony Khan, CM Punk is staying. If you want your, what do you want Tony to do?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever know.
Like,
to be honest,
be like, F off WBD. Like, no, that's what he's gonna do. Nor should he. Like, that's stupid. Like that is stupid.
But,
like, I'm sorry, but like you're not gonna run a successful business if you're turning down hundreds of millions of dollars. That's just factual.
Yeah. All right, well, enough of beating this dead horse here. Let's move on to this AEW Dynamite from Chicago, Illinois. This was the home of the original All In. This was an okay show. Like, I can totally understand if people were like, this show sucks, I'm turning it off. I enjoyed most of it. I got to see some people I haven't seen in a while. I think we bookended it with really, really good matches. Like, the bookending matches here were fan-frickin-tastic. The Moxley versus Commander and Orange Cassidy versus Penta. But, you know, I totally understand if people had a problem with this match because it was supposed to be a go-home show for All Out. But you guys got to remember, a lot of people were given the night off because of Bray. Doesn't want to hear any spoilers. All right, Miyoja, have a great night, sir.
All right, thanks, Meduja, for coming by. Appreciate you.
You know, but it was one of those where I'll just say it is what it is. You know what I mean? We were missing a lot of talent tonight. There was some talent that, you know, were on the show. It seemed to be a little bit Ring of Honor heavy, which is where I think most people's problems came from it. You know, a lot of the Ring of Honor stuff is what everybody had a problem with a few months ago. And I think they were happy it was kind of shoveled over to the Ring of Honor channel. And now that it came back, I think they were kind of like, torches lit, you know?
So, obviously, we have to look at the show for what it was. And I think that this week is a very interesting and weird week because it's a week where not only is this your pay-per-view blow-off show, but it's also your go-home show for another pay-per-view. So, and I said this on Sunday, I said buckle up for this week because I thought it was going to be like a bam, 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 crazy angles, storylines, promos, matches getting added left and right for Sunday. And it wasn't that, really. So it's looking at it in a completely, for what it is, it's not a good go-home show, and it's not a good pay-per-view blow-off show. It's not either of those.
No.
And I think that's what hurts it the most. Now, again, we can put asterisks on it, and I think we should. Again, people were at Bray Wyatt's funeral. people that lived in Florida did not travel for the show due to the hurricane that we have confirmed did hit today. We also know that apparently certain big talent got sick, which for me, I think someone got COVID because Brian Alvarez got COVID when he was over in London. So for all I know, that could be what it is. I don't know though. I mean, we'll see. But I mean, you got to look at these three factors, and like, if you put the roster up on like a board and be like, okay, who lives in Florida? Take Swerve off the board. There's a bunch of people that lived in Florida that you could take off the board. You know, and then like, who knew Bray Wyatt and is probably at his funeral? That's probably more people you could take off the board. Like, there's just so many people that just didn't come to the show tonight. And I do give them credit for actually being able to throw a card of matches. Like, I know some people don't like Marina Shafir, and they're like, why is she on TV? It's like, well, at that point, you just can't win. Because it's like, there's so many women on this taping between Dynamite and Rampage. I think almost every woman, except for like maybe Athena, but Athena's probably going to be booked for Ring of Honor. And the Bunny, I don't think she's on it. And Penelope. I think everyone else is going to be on this show, whether it be Wednesday or Friday. Yeah. But like, you got to at least look at it fairly. And just like, yeah, it was a bad go-home show. But bad circumstances happen. But we could look at it both ways.
Yeah, now, quick question. Did you hear at any time anybody mentioned that CM Punk and Jack were suspended, or even mention their names?
No, and I don't. That's
odd,
something
man.
that I don't. That's something that I will give Tony Khan shit for. Out of everything, I think that transparency with your fans is important, and I understand that this guy comes from the sports world where, you know, a lot of locker room issues stay in the locker room. I feel like, at least that's what I feel like. So like, I understand Tony, maybe like what he's used to is like, we're not going to talk about this publicly. We're not going to make it a big thing.
They usually will say something like that, like, oh, like, because, you know, the whole Ricky Starks thing. I mean, but that's kayfabe, I know, but still, like, you would imagine that because he spoke about it at the scrum, that maybe he would at least reference it somewhere.
If I was Tony, it doesn't even need to be on TV, because you're right, he did say something at the media scrum.
Yeah.
But if I'm Tony, I would have said I would have tweeted it. That's fine. Just be like, hey, look, CM Punk and Jack Perry are suspended right now. And the thing is that, and this is another thing real quick, not really meaning to backpedal, but Coach had said earlier that like, there's no need for an investigation because he was there.
He was
At
right
the
there.
end of the day, Tony's going to say that it's pending investigation because that's just the formal way to say it. Like,
yeah,
he's not ready to take a side yet. Like, he's still figuring out the severity of what both guys did.
Technically, in a real company, there has to be an investigation, even if the person doing the investigation was standing right there. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be one. So
right, and so Coach has kind of backed me up with that. Like, that's how sports locker rooms work. Like, people don't find out about things usually.
Now, my question would be, do you think Tony's not announcing it because all of these shows are in Chicago and people are buying tickets expecting to see Punk?
So I thought about that, and I do think that, like I said earlier, and I guess we could talk about it now if you want, but I was going to talk about it later when we talk about the All Out card.
Okay.
I do think that Punk being suspended seriously puts them in a really rough position. I thought that tonight's crowd was borderline bad, which is very rare for Chicago. Now some people have said that like, well, it's not really Chicago, it's the Wintrust, which is outside of Chicago. It's a really shitty place to get to if you're from Chicago. People apparently don't like traveling to the Wintrust because it's outside of the city. I don't know how true that is. I've never been. I don't know, but that's what some people were saying. But so I think that Punk absolutely puts the company in a bad spot here because no one would be very upset if Jack isn't on that card, but it's All Out in Chicago, and I do worry about this show. I'm worried about All Out for many reasons. And one of the biggest is like, how is that crowd going to be knowing that CM Punk's not on the card?
So check this out. I think this is the perfect chance. Well, it would have been for Tony to actually punish Punk here. So he announces it. He's suspended. Sorry, he's not going to be there for All Out or for the Collision. So he tells Punk, listen, everybody that gets refunds on their tickets because of you, the people you disappointed in Chicago, your town, you're paying for those. You're paying us for the tickets, and fine him
I
the
can
amount
understand
that they lose.
I can understand that. I don't think I would still just say do a flat. I would fine the guy. I would just fine him. I would just fine him 5-6 digits.
Yeah.
And just be like, that money's going towards what you just said.
I think that I'm actually, the more I think about it, I'm like, dude, you could actually hit Punk right in his heart by doing that. Tell him, like, you disappointed these people. We're telling them you're not going to be there. They're going to refund their tickets because we know it's going to happen and you're going to pay for it. That would be tremendous. Like,
yeah, no, and I agree, and that's what I was saying since the start. Like, find the guy, and I do like the way you put it on Punk, and I agree, and I think that's what they should do. I don't. Again, there's no point in suspending CM Punk. There's no point.
No.
Now, other people are pointing to other little funny things. It's like Punk's doing like an MMA show apparently this Saturday, and I don't know, but like it puts Tony in a very rough spot for All Out. It puts him in a super rough spot because, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I think that the card should be better than what it is, and like I don't think it's because they booked back-to-back week paper. Like, there are some matches on All Out's card that I'm genuinely very excited for, but I think All Out is missing one or two things. Like, it's coming up short, and I am worried about the pay-per-view for many reasons, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, same. It looks like a Ring of Honor pay-per-view at the moment, but we'll get to it.
I don't even think that that's a fair thing to say. Like, and here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people don't, like, I know Coach, for example, hates when Ring of Honor comes in AEW. They're all guys under the same contract. I just don't look at it as that big of a deal. Like, it's all part of the same content. They're filming Ring of Honor at the same tapings that they're doing Collision. Like, Ring of Honor, it's only called Ring of Honor for the sake of the brand. Like, that's what it is. It's another show that Tony Khan wants to do. It's another wrestling show. Did Ricky get announced for anything yet? No, not yet. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for Collision. You know. But
so I don't know if this is true or not, but literally as Coach put that into chat, my Twitter is going crazy. It says Saturday, September 2nd, Ricky Starks challenges Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to a strap match at All Out.
Hold on.
What? This is from Tony Khan 1 minute ago. This Saturday on TNT. Coach, are you psychic or something? Let me put it up here. Ricky Starks challenges Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to a strap match for All Out. And they used a picture of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat where he looks 110 years old. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's real. Oof.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know if I like that.
Is it going to be... Hold up. So this sounds like Ricky's going to accept and somehow it was going to be Punk. Do you think they just still go with it like nothing fucking happened?
Well, so I actually thought that they were going to do a strap match between Punk and Ricky. I actually really thought that was the way they were going. I don't know how I feel about them putting Ricky Steamboat in this spot. I don't know about that. I mean, I could be proven wrong. I mean, Sting still goes. Like Coach says, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I want to see that match, but yeah, Coach is literally on the same wavelength as me right now. Like, I want to see the match, but can Ricky Steamboat? Can he do this?
I don't doubt it, because seeing him as the special referee, he was moving fine. He took the straps fine. He sold fine. I think he could do, at minimum, take a couple bumps. I don't see why not.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that this would be the audible. That means that they're not planning on having CM Punk at All Out.
That's crazy.
I really don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, if you go through with that, I feel like it was supposed to be Punk, and I feel like there's going to somehow be a swerve, and they're just going to be like, fuck it, it's still happening. Huh, we'll see. Jesus. All right, let's get started here on the Dynamite review. We had a really good recap of All In to start the show. They did show CM Punk and Jack in the video package that they showed there. For a second, I missed CM Punk. I had to rewind it to make sure, but they did show him and Samoa Joe. This was a decent little video package for All In. I liked it. And then we started off with Jon Moxley versus Commander in what I thought was an absolutely great match to open the show. I was super happy to see that Moxley was here. I think he had a few matches and even a feud with the Wyatt family, so I kind of assumed he wasn't going to be here tonight. This was very nice. It was a great match. Commander looked freaking awesome. I'm not sure why Alex Abrahantes is coming out with basically like every luchador now.
That's his thing. That's his gimmick.
Is that his thing? All right. I mean, it's fine, but he was a little annoying at the beginning of this match for me. He was smacking the mat all the time, and it was like really loud. I was like, bro, knock it off. But it was fine.
One thing that AEW does better, like there's a lot of things I think AEW does better. I think AEW is better than WWE in every single way, but the one thing that AEW does that's so good is how they treat managers. Like the way they use managers is just so perfect. Like they're so good at managers. Where it's just like this is it is a very retro vibe almost, where it's just like, hey, like there used to be these managers and every manager had a family or a faction or a list of clientele, and it's like, hey, Alex Abrahantes, he is a translator, and his thing is he manages the luchadors because he's also probably their translator. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's great. I love it.
Jose, the assistant, does it in a perfect way as well. So it's definitely not the same character that those two are playing. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like every manager has a different thing. Like Mark Sterling is their lawyer, and he's like, I'm representing you in wrestling. Prince Nana, they're in the money. They want to make the money. So he sold the embassy to Swerve, and now they're co-owners of the Mogul Embassy.
Listen, I'm going to say right now that Mark Sterling is underrated only because of the fact that they have him with two dudes that are just not happening right now. They need to put Mark Sterling with somebody of note because this dude is so good at that freaking lawyer character. I want him with Will Hobbs, something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah. I've been saying that smart Mark Sterling is a gem.
Hey, Coog's here. What's up, Coog? But yeah, this was a great match. Did you notice that Commander actually wrestled a Jon Moxley style match here? He did not have a crazy bouncing around all over the place lucha match. Like, he wasn't just doing every one of his rope running spots and all that stuff. He was actually trying to like strike with Jon Moxley.
For sure. But I also want to point out how freaking dope Commander's gear was.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, this guy came out. I know Coog's right there with me. I was just like LLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very nice. I wish I had a picture of it, but I'm scrolling. I can't find one right now. But
it was so good. His gear was just, I loved it so much.
But this was a great match. Like I keep saying, Moxley winds up getting the win via submission using the Yugi Gatami armbar, if you will. This was great, man. I absolutely loved this match, and I thought it was a great way to open the show.
So real quick, I want to answer Coach's question. Did we have sound issues? The only time I had a sound issue...
I did not.
There's only one time I had a sound issue, and that was during Mox's promo.
What was the issue? I had none that I...
So when Mox does his promo, which we're about to talk about, later in the show.
No, he does that later, yeah.
Yeah, the Moxley promo, for some reason, came off very quiet. Other than the Moxley promo, I didn't have any issues. I do think that this crowd was very dead for most.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest crowd. I feel like they were just kind of like disappointed that they knew they weren't seeing CM Punk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that could be what it was. I mean, to be completely honest. Coach, I would say go back and check it out. There's some really good matches on the show. Or you can keep listening. You know what you should do? Listen to us and watch the shows.
And what's weird, so I watch AEW on my computer. So like I'm able to bring my cable TV up on the computer, and I almost never have any of the audio issues that Ed talks about or Coach talks about. So I'm always wondering if it's like a different provider type thing, you know what I mean?
Oh, so Coach said it kept skipping on him, kind of going in and out. Oh no, I didn't have that issue.
Not at all. Not even a little bit on my end. Yeah. There was a time where, like what you were saying with Moxley's promo, when he had his back to us, I was like, is he talking and I'm not hearing anything right now? But no, he was just standing there in silence for a minute, right?
No, he was talking during that. That's what I'm saying.
Was he? Yeah, so I didn't
Yeah,
hear
like-
anything when Moxley's back was
I-
to us. I thought he wasn't saying anything at all.
I could hear him saying something, but I couldn't make out what it was. That's
Okay.
the only time tonight where I had a sound issue, where it was just like, I have no idea what Moxley is saying during this promo.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, next up after his match, we had an Orange Cassidy promo. He said he is not going to stop defending his title. And man, this was the first of 2 absolutely great promos by Orange Cassidy tonight. We'll talk about the second one later, but this one was very good.
Can't wait.
Loved it.
Can't wait. Can't wait to talk about Orange Cassidy.
Oh my
later
God,
tonight.
yes. Next up, we had a little bit of a recap of the FTR and the Bucks at Wembley, and immediately we go into the locker room at Wembley. The Bucks are extremely upset. You know, they're just kind of in the locker room. This is basically, it's supposed to be immediately after the match, right after they walked away from the handshake with FTR. I think it was Lexi Nair. I couldn't tell who that was. They went to get an interview with the Bucks, and FTR steps into the locker room and interrupts, and they're kind of like, hey guys, you know, what's going on? We kind of showed you guys respect with the handshake thing, and you guys just walked away from us. What's going on here? And I was actually surprised with the answer. The Bucks were like, we're sorry, man. It was the heat of the moment. It was in front of 80,000 people. We thought we were going to win. You know, we're sorry about that. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting that answer from the Bucks, but I actually enjoyed it. It was fine. And the Bullet Club Gold show up in hilarious fashion, hooting and hollering as they come spilling into the locker room. And Jay White basically sets up a match 4 versus 4 at All Out. The Bucks and FTR are going to tag team together in a 4 versus 4 against Bullet Club Gold. Rome, I never, almost ever, thought that I would see the day of FTR and the Bucks teaming together.
Jeff, they've literally teamed together twice in AEW's history already.
Okay, after those times, never thought it would happen again.
Got him. All right, so here's my thing. Oh, this sucks. I think this match is going to be really good. I do not want to see an 8-man tag on this all-out card. I don't want to see an 8-man tag. I
mean, we know it's going to be at least good. It's at least going to be good, though.
I know it's going to be good, and that's what makes this so hard, because it's going to be great.
Yeah, it can't be
But
bad.
I don't want to see, I'm so underwhelmed that for All Out they're just like, here's an 8-man tag with no stake, and I'm like, that's kind of stinky.
Yeah, like mathematically, it cannot be bad. You know what I mean? Like I just did the math. Like,
look, here's the thing: if Punk is suspended, I would have done this 8-man tag on Collision, because it does sound like a very fun match. But the problem is, right? Here's the thing. This pay-per-view is a tough sell for people from the get-go. You just had All In. It's so, like, you're asking people to spend back-to-back weeks $50. That's a lot to ask of anybody.
it is. It absolutely is.
You can't under-deliver with the card. Like, and I understand, you know, you had to have a lot of big matches for All In, and All In should absolutely get the priority between the 2 shows. Like, it was your biggest show of all time. The matches you put on that card should have stayed on that card. I would not have taken anything off that card. However, like, this All Out card, again, also partially because of CM Punk and possibly Jack Perry, just all in all, a very weak card. And I don't think that adding an 8-man tag match to this card was the right thing to do. If I was doing it, what I would have done, because I do think we're getting ready to do Bullet Club Gold versus the Elite feud, I would have had the Bucks take on Jay White and Juice Robinson in just a straight up tag. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
FTR, I don't know what I would have done with FTR. That I admittedly, I don't know. Maybe
Have them get on commentary.
Maybe, yeah. But so, like, I just,
Oh God.
looking at this, like, 8-man tags are fun action packed, but they like I don't know, like they just 8-man tag is not a pay-per-view quality match. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not doing it for me. It's not. It's kind of a swing and a miss. It's like I'm sure this match is gonna be great, but I don't know if I'm gonna get excited for a pay-per-view card where it's an 8-man.
Dude, I just came across this gif of this Japanese match where I don't know how, but this dude pulled a gun out of his shorts, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen. I can't stop laughing.
That is pretty funny.
Oh man, I'm like crying. Oh shit. But I thought this was a great segment. Like you, I am slightly worried about this match being 4 versus 4, but there's no way it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a good match. But I think you had a great point that it feels like a Collision match, not a pay-per-view. Like that should happen on Collision, and then those two tag teams should face each other at All Out. Is kind of what I was thinking, but you know.
Juhas rolling in days late.
Late. What up, Juhas?
What's wrong?
Man, I'm dying from that. Oh, that was funny.
You should send that to Juhas if you missed it.
Yeah, I will.
Juhas would absolutely find that spot hilarious.
Oh man, that's too funny. I'm gonna have to like it so I can find it again. There we go.
You know, great segment, but I definitely don't think an 8-man tag is what they should do for All Out. It's not what I would.
Nah, yeah. All right, next up, we had a recap of Saraya's championship win at Wembley. I liked it. It did what it needed to do. You know, if you missed Wembley, you got to see a little bit of what happened with the with that 4-way women's match there. Next up after that was Toni Storm with Renee Paquette. Toni Storm with this new character of hers. It's like a broken Marilyn Monroe. I absolutely love this character for her. She's going on and on about how there's nobody left in the locker room she can trust. You know, Saraya doesn't trust her anymore. She can't trust her. Ruby walked out on her. She can't trust Ruby. And she's like, Wembley went tits up, Renee. Like, that was one of the funniest things I have heard in a minute. And as she's leaving, she's like, I can't even trust these shoes, and throws another shoe at Renee. This was fantastic, dude.
Oh, I completely agree. I think Toni Storm, this starlet character, is just really, really awesome. It's really excellent. Well done. Very funny. Very entertaining. I liked how, because she's like the starlet, like the fallen actress. It's she's like, Saraya didn't follow her part in the script. I still love Saraya, but she didn't follow the script. And like, I don't know. I enjoyed the metaphor, if you would.
Yeah, it was fantastic, you know, and that's actually something that I kind of didn't put 2 and 2 together. So she does have that like Marilyn Monroe movie actress look right now, and she talked about the script. That's a great point. I like that. Next up, we had Chris Jericho in ring. Says Wembley was the best weekend of his entire career. You know, he says Fozzy got to play a massive show the night before on Friday night before the show. He got to play at the show. And then he had one of the biggest matches of his career in front of the largest audience ever. Like, I thought this was a decent promo by Jericho here. And he says he has something he wants to talk to Sammy Guevara about. And he calls Sammy out. Crowd actually, you know, they weren't very loud tonight, but they got pretty decent for Sammy here. Got some chants for Sammy. And Jericho gives Sammy a nice apology here. He extends his hand to him, and they shake hands. And Chris starts going down a list of things in his mind that he kind of thinks could have helped him win the match. And most of them were about himself. And then he just throws out one, like maybe Sammy could have hit him a little harder with the bat. And here's where I got a problem with Sammy, because I don't think he should have taken very much offense to that, because Jericho, he gave out like 5 things that were about himself first. You know what I mean? Like, he was just running through some stuff in his mind. But Sammy took offense to this one and basically gets in Chris's face, and they have themselves a little bit of an argument. But Jericho says, well, hold on, stop this. Let's stop getting angry at each other, and let's become the tag team champions. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? But Jericho wants to take a shot at getting together as Les Sex Gods one more time. and they're going to start moving up the ladder of the tag team division. Rome, how many matches do you give it before they implode? One? I think it happens first match.
I agree. I think one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it needs to happen right away. As soon as you guys tag the first time, implode, done. Like,
so I would say that I think this is one of Sammy's best promos.
okay.
I really liked it, actually. I really like Sammy here. I thought Jericho was really good too. I liked Jericho with his backhand compliments. Again, like you said, he is listing his own things, but at the same time, like, I don't think you could complain about Sammy breaking the rules for you. And I just think Sammy's just like he's like, I left my family, I left my pregnant wife at home to fly to London to make sure you won, and you didn't win. I did everything I could, and you're still kind of putting it on me, whereas like you were in the match, you lost, I wasn't. What I really liked was Jericho says, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's just it didn't go like I tell you to do things, and sometimes it just doesn't go how I envision it." And I really liked that line.
Yeah.
And Jericho's like, "Yeah, you know, I just thought if you had hit him harder." And I do like how Sammy says, how they spin it, where Sammy does say like, "Did you envision it where I leave my family, fly to London, all that stuff?" And Jericho says, "No, I envision it where you left your family to go to London and made it to the card that a bunch of boys and girls in the back couldn't make it on the card."
Yeah, and did you see any of like the footage or the or not backstage, but the photos of Sammy while he was ringside? He looked miserable, dude. He was just like having to watch Jericho wrestle,
Well, it's because he wants to be on the card. And again, like
Absolutely.
we argued about this going into it, everybody wanted to be on the card, and it's just unfortunately you can't get everybody on the card unless you do a battle royal, and then everyone will give them a hard time about doing a battle royal, and then it'd just be like, can't believe it. Can't believe AEW would do this. They would have a battle royale. Oh my
Yeah.
god, crazy. Anyways, so I I love how Jericho says like, "Oh, you should just listen to me and continue to listen to me, and you'll learn." And Sammy's like, "You're right, Chris. I should pay attention to you and listen to you, so that way I learn how not to lose a match at the biggest show of all time."
Yeah.
And it was just great. And then Jericho throws the fact that he lost to MJF for the title in his face. Sammy brings up Jericho losing his AEW championship belt outside of a steakhouse in Jacksonville after he first won it, because that was something that happened. He did lose it. Chris is like, "This is enough. Let's get back on track. Be a team. Win the tag title." And I'm just like, I'm conflicted about this one because I really enjoyed both Chris and Sammy here. I thought it was a really good segment. But it's like we are kind of reaching shit or get off the pot levels where it's just like, okay, well, what are we doing here? Like, has there been any real story progression? And tonight there was. Later on, there is a little something that we'll talk about. But at the time when I'm writing my notes, it's just like, I feel like this is like the 7th time we've teased these two guys breaking.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you can do it before it becomes the boy who cried wolf. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even fully know and believe if they're going to break up. Even though that's where they're teasing it to go.
Right.
But it's like, how many times have they done this? So I do kind of give it that little knock where it's like, this is a great segment. They did a great job with it. But
I agree.
we got to see where it goes. Because they've teased Sammy and Jericho breaking up for about 11 months at this point.
Real quick, Rampage match. El Hijo del Vikingo and El Hijo del Buddy Wayne versus Kip Sabian and Gringo Loco.
On Rampage?
At least that's what it looks like.
What? That didn't get announced.
That's what people are saying right now. I think it's being filmed or was filmed.
Maybe it's an ROH match? Is it an ROH match?
Oh, yeah, you might be right. But people are saying you got to see what Vikingo just did. I don't want to see any more spoilers. I'm getting off it.
I don't see that was announced.
Huh. Wonder what that's going to
No.
be for then. Maybe it's just a dark match, possibly.
Or wait a second. Hold on. Are they in the Battle Royal? Maybe they're in the Battle Royal. No, they're not in the Battle Royal. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. I'm going to stop looking, though. I don't want to get spoiled. I know, right,
Okay.
Coog? El Hijo del Buddy Wayne. That'd be Nick Wayne. All right, next up, we had that Moxley promo with the Blackpool Combat Club where Moxley started off the promo facing away from the camera. And now that Rome says he was saying something, I think that they were talking amongst themselves in like a little bit of a Blackpool Combat Club like huddle. And then Moxley turned around to address the camera. But it did feel a little weird. So I don't know if that was an audio issue or not. But that would have been the only one that I had even come close to hearing tonight, Coach, by the way.
But the part that I did hear from Moxley, I
Yes.
really enjoyed. Mox says, the thing about me, Orange Cassidy, and Penta is the three of us, we're not like other people. We don't have a lot of bark. But he's like, we don't have belts, we don't have gimmicks, or like he's like, we don't have like all this crazy pyro and all this stuff. It's like, but we have bite. We don't have a lot of bark, three of us, but we have bite. And on Sunday, at the end of the night, we'll know which of the three of us has the most. This was
Yeah, that was a really good promo. I like.
What I did hear of it was excellent.
Yep. All right, and then we immediately move into a match with Wheeler Yuta versus Eddie Kingston for the New Japan Open Strong Championship. If you were not aware, Eddie Kingston is the New Japan Open Strong Champion. I actually really like that championship. If you haven't seen any of his matches over in New Japan, you should check them out. I'm sure there's a few of them on YouTube here or there. This was a good match, man. Yuta was basically working over Eddie's arm the entire match. Working over the arm that Eddie uses for that back fist, basically stopping him from using his finishing move. There was a really, really good tope by Eddie Kingston here. I was very surprised at how awesome Eddie Kingston's tope suicida was. But these two dudes just absolutely beat the ever-living daylights out of each other. And Eddie hits the first back fist onto Wheeler Yuta, and Yuta doesn't even go down, attesting to the damage that he did to Eddie's arm the whole match. But Yuta kind of does the whole, give me another one type thing, the old Ric Flair finish me off. And Eddie smashes him with another back fist and pins him for the 1, 2, 3. And I just wrote down, that was badass. That's what I wrote. I love Eddie Kingston matches. They're just good.
Man, this match was great. It was hard hitting. I love Eddie. I love Yuta. Thought it was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Again, I don't know if this is the kind of match I want to see to sit up for the pay-per-view, especially because I don't think either of these guys got anything announced for the pay-per-view. Coach saying he has no issues this time around for the sound on Dynamite. Awesome. Glad to hear it, man. This match was great. I don't know if this match had a lot of place being on this go-home show for All Out. But it was great. It was a great match.
Yeah, and I do hear some discourse about Wheeler Yuta taking the pin all the time, but I believe there's a story behind this because before Danielson was injured, remember when Wheeler would do something in a match and lose, or when Danielson would be on commentary, Danielson would make it a point of being like, God damn it, Wheeler, we taught you better than that, or, oh, he's going to get punished for that in training. There's a storyline behind this thing with Wheeler Yuta losing all the time. I promise you, this is leading somewhere with the entire Combat Club, more than likely with Danielson. I really do think it is, and it's going to elevate the shit out of Wheeler Yuta.
3 things. Number 1, Yuta is the young boy of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes.
He is the guy that takes the pins in the group. However, point 2, the last big match that the Blackpool Combat Club won, the pinfall was picked up by Wheeler Yuta, who hit the finisher to win the match. So this concept, it's such selective.
Yeah.
pick and choosing of it, where it's just like, oh man, Yuta, he's always the one to lose. It's just like, well, yeah, but he was also the one to pin
Yeah.
in the Anarchy in the Arena, which is the last big profile win that the BCC picked up, if I'm not mistaken. Again, just to act like Yuta, like, yes, Yuta does take the pins for the group because one of the guys is the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah.
Which they're going to protect their champions. I know that's surprising.
And the other two are two of the top 5 wrestlers on the planet. Like,
yeah, probably of all time. So yeah, like them when those guys lose, it needs to be a big deal.
exactly.
So, like it just makes the most sense for Yuta to take the pin. That's his role in the faction. He's still very young. It doesn't mean that he's going to be like this forever. Eventually, he's going to move up and onward in the Blackpool Combat Club. But for right now, he is the young guy. If Danielson was there, Danielson would be like, Yuta, you little shit, you didn't do this right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of the story. That's the point of the faction.
Yeah.
Is that, like, he is training under the Blackpool Combat Club. That was the whole point of the Blackpool Combat Club. I think people forget, but that was the origin of the faction, where it was
iron
like,
sharpens
we are making
iron.
a faction to train people, to train the next generation of wrestlers to be real men, real wrestlers. And that's the point. Yuta is a student in the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yep.
I don't know.
The Coug nailed it too, just like Roosh is doing for LFI. Like, we don't tolerate failure. The kidnapping in Mexico and the beatdown with the cartel, that was a great segment. You know what I mean? We're gonna get something similar with Danielson. You know.
Again, like my point is that somebody needs to take those big multi-man pins, and it's just like here's the thing: Orange Cassidy versus John Mox, right? This Sunday at All Out, probably out of the entire card, my most anticipated match. Cassidy, if Orange Cassidy ends up beating John Moxley, do you realize that how great that looks or it makes Orange Cassidy look? How much that strengthens him and gives him that further push to the upper echelons of the roster of the industry? Like,
and
that's
Cassidy.
Sorry, go ahead.
Cassidy has pinned Yuta, and he has pinned Claudio. He just needs to pin Moxley now to finish off.
But that's how you build stars, is that like there is a way to work your way around it. And in the past, they've done a great job at establishing Yuta as part of the Blackpool Combat Club. Like, again, it's very odd how people have the most selective remembering of things, where they make these setups where they set things up in a way and then.
Bro, I just thought of this. So Cassidy ran through Yuta, Claudio, and then he goes through Mox. That only leaves one more person left in the Blackpool Combat Club for Orange Cassidy to defeat. I think Danielson would be a great person to finally defeat him and hold that belt. That would be one step too far for Cassidy to be all broken and busted and be like, nah, I'm going to defend this belt against Danielson. It's fine. Oh, man. And then you could have Danielson take it to Japan. Oh, God. Okay.
We'll see. But anyways, my point
incredible match
is it's okay for Yuta to take the pin for the BCC.
Yes, it absolutely is, especially right now.
They're clearly setting up for another Eddie Claudio match.
Later, Juhas. We'll catch you later.
But anyways, it's okay. It's okay for you to take the pins for the BCC. Yeah. They're setting up for Eddie and Claudio. That's the vision right now. Like, and I know sometimes looking at things like that, it's hard to figure out. You know, you got the brain, the wheel is turning up there, but the hamster inside the wheel's dead. I get it. It's hard. But there's clearly that vision of Eddie Claudio.
Yo, there's a hashtag fuck you Claudio trending right now.
Eddie Kingston probably started that himself.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, next up we had a Adam Cole and MJF backstage segment. This was MJF after Wembley, telling Adam Cole, like, you tried to break my neck twice, you asshole. I'm taking a week off. I'm going to France, gonna eat some snails and bang some rats. So, MJF explaining he's taking the week off, but Adam Cole will be here tonight on the show. I think we saw this already throughout the week, right? Wasn't this like a Twitter post that they put out? That was the first you saw it? Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jeff. I did chuckle at this segment
Oh, it was
because they
great.
announced that well, it was great, but I also chuckled because they announced the battle royal and a tournament in one segment,
Yeah.
and I know there's someone in the Discord that absolutely probably hated that, and I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing. I had a good chuckle.
Yeah. All right. Next up was Sammy Guevara with Renee Paquette backstage. And before the interview could get going, we had Don Callis show up, and Sammy Guevara was not having it from Don Callis. He was like, "Yo, shut the front door, get the fuck out of my face, get out of here." He's like, "Don't want to hear it." I thought this was a nice little interaction. You know, I thought Don Callis was going to try to turn Sammy heel, but I think I said it the other day that it's way too soon to go heel again now that the fans are cheering Sammy once again. This was decent. What do you think's gonna come from this?
See, again, like it does make me wonder where we go next, because it does, like, I would not turn Sammy.
No, it's
I
too
stand
soon. You
by that.
just got everyone to cheer him again.
Yeah, Sammy worked so hard to get the fans behind him that you can't do that to him. So I am kind of left in a very, like, I don't know what they do here. I don't know if it's like a double swerve where Jericho does join Don Callis still.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
I have
we'll
no
have to see
idea
it
where
play
that's
out.
heading, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the segment, but I don't understand where it's going. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, next up, Adam Cole down to the ring. This is also. Oh, what's that?
Adam.
Adam. This was great. This is the arena where Adam Cole arrived to AEW, I believe. And he thanks the fans for 80,000 plus at Wembley Stadium. He says MJF will be ready for All Out, so it looks like they're going to be defending their championships at All Out. And Roderick Strong shows up screaming, "Adam! Adam!" It was hilarious. I started laughing the moment I heard it. And him and the Kingdom come out, and Mike Bennett cuts a pretty decent promo on Adam Cole. Like, even though I don't really care much about Mike Bennett, I thought this was a great promo from him. Whatever you think of the guy, it was a great promo from him on Adam Cole. And Matt Taven cuts another one on him. It was decent as well. And Cole says, "Listen, guys, you guys might not like it, but MJF is my friend. And, as a matter of fact, he's my best friend."
I loved him saying that in front of Roddy.
Yep, said it right in front of Roddy. Roddy was not happy. He says, "You know what? I'm going to be entering the World Championship tournament then, and I'm going to beat your new best friend, MJF." And this is Roddy. Roddy's going to enter the tournament. And so it looks like Roddy wants to enter that tournament and defeat MJF, which I think he has a snowball's chance in hell. But, this was a good segment. I think this is what makes Adam Cole, as good as I was kind of telling you about from NXT. Maybe the other guys weren't that great, but,
So I like the I like the segment. I liked I don't really have a lot of issues with it itself. My only thing that I don't like is I would not have Roddy win this.
You wouldn't have him what?
I would not have Roddy win the tournament.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch for me too.
Well, so my reasoning is that I think that there's a big money match that you could do at Grand Slam, and I think you should do that match instead, which is MJF versus Eddie King.
Ooh, I like that.
I've been saying it for like 6 months now, and I'm sticking to it. I think that that's the money match for Grand Slam. I think you're in New York City. You have two New Yorkers, MJF and Eddie Kingston. Do that match. It makes too much sense.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm kind of hoping what they do is like Roddy enters the tournament and Adam Cole enters it too. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, here's what I would do. Hear me out.
That's great.
Hear me out. Here's what happens. I think you have Adam Cole and Roddy in the tournament. You also have Eddie and Claudio in the tournament, right?
Woo.
You have the semifinals be Claudio and Eddie and Adam Cole and Roddy. So those are the two semifinals to lead to the final. And that way you get a money match with Eddie and Claudio. Have Eddie finally pick up that win on Claudio.
Yes.
Because at this point, Eddie's like, it's New York. It's my home. Let me get this goddamn main event. And so, like, there's a lot of emotion there where Eddie beats Claudio finally, and then he gets to go to the finals to go to Wembley. Or not Wembley. Jesus Christ, I'm a mess right now. This is what happens when you wake up. This is what happens when you have work at 5 in the morning, and
Yeah.
then you stay up till 11:30. So then, yeah, you have Eddie beat Claudio. Eddie goes to the finals, and you have Adam Cole and Roddy. And what I would do here is this is where MJF turns on Adam Cole. Right? Like, this is where it happens. MJF does not want to face Adam Cole again, and he can still go back to his heel ways if he wants. Have MJF turn on Adam Cole, or maybe do that in the final. I don't know.
I love all of that though, man. Like having Adam Cole join the tournament to try to face Roddy. That'd be great for it to be Adam Cole versus Roddy in the finals. You know what I mean? Like,
but again, I would have Eddie win this tournament, and I would have Eddie take on MJF at Grand Slam. I think.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're leading to New York with the Eddie.
Yeah.
I guess have it the semifinals be Roddy and Adam Cole, right?
Look, Jeff, I'll say this, Tony Khan. I'm not looking for employment, but if you want, I can work with you. You know what I mean? Like I'll quit my job to come work for AEW. So let me do some booking. You know, I think I've proven myself to know a little bit with the pencil, as they say. No, I don't know if I would be any good at it, but it is fun to make up matches.
Yeah, but this was very good. I enjoyed it. Next up was Pentagon or Penta El Cero M cutting a promo on Jon Moxley, basically telling Moxley he's going to win the main event tonight and become the champion, the international champion, so that he can face Moxley at All Out. This was a good promo from Penta. I love hearing Penta speak English. It was nice. I like it.
Well, I was about to say that. He doesn't do it very often, but I loved it. He was like, Orange, it's not personal. It's just business.
Yep.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much. Next up, we had Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker, DMD, versus Emi Sakura, Marina Shafir, and Nyla Rose. And, once I heard that, a lot of people had the night off, I knew we were going to see Nyla Rose tonight, and I was very happy about that. I love getting to see Nyla Rose perform. She's been one of my favorites in the women's division since day one, basically. This was a good match. I kind of, when it came on, I wasn't aware that it was going to be a match, and I was kind of like, oof, but I enjoyed it actually. They kind of had a couple of spots where Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida had some friendly fire against each other on accident. So it looks like we're leading to a Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida match, and I'm all over that. You know what I mean? Yes, please. So
I actually found it really funny. Because, like, if you're complaining about this match, I'm convinced that the people that complain about matches like this, there's just no pleasing them. Because it's like, where are all the women? Where's the women roster? Why are none of them on TV? And so it's like, oh, okay. Well, here's
six of them.
Britt and Shida and Statlander and Emmy and Marina Shafir and Nyla Rose. And Ruby Soho is going to get involved. And over on Collision, you have, like, Anna Jay and Taya Valkyrie and Sky Blue and... I mean, and then all of a sudden it's like, why are these girls on TV? Like, it's just like,
and that same trio, Statlander, Shida, and Britt are facing all three members of the Outcast on Collision this Saturday. I just see that graphic just popped up. Yep. Like, come on.
Again, I thought this was great. I love the team of Shida, Britt, and Statlander. It's really awesome seeing those day one AEW girls teaming up. It's something that should have happened a lot during the Outcasts storyline, but it didn't for whatever reason. But we're not going to go there. It's fine. Everything's fine. But I love the match.
Yeah, me
really
too.
Enjoyed it.
I thought it was fantastic.
Match too. Yeah, Ruby Soho shows up, takes the title from Statlander, puts it down.
It's funny. I keep seeing a lot of tweets where people are saying Ruby stole the title. She didn't actually steal it. She left it on the ramp. She kissed it and put it on the ground and walked off afterwards. I think a lot of people didn't see that last 10 seconds there.
Well, the reason is because the commentary team was like, oh, she stole the belt.
Yeah.
So, like, people were just kind of going off of that. And, yeah, Coach is right. Ruby versus Statlander is absolutely slapping.
Yeah, it's going to be very good.
It's going to be very, very good.
And, I thought she was stealing the belt too, the way she was walking off with it. But she did stop on the ramp. She kissed it. She put it on the ground, and then she left it there. So, it's not like she's going to be doing one of those gimmicks where, she actually took the belt from her and, So, this was good. I don't think we mentioned the finish here. The finish was Statlander, after a big choke slam from Nyla Rose to Britt Baker. Statlander runs wild. She hits that Wednesday Night Fever finisher of hers, which I don't know what to call that. It's almost like a Gotch style pile driver. But Statlander hits Marina Shafir with the Wednesday Night Fever, picks up that 1-2-3. Good match. I thought it was great. Advanced some storylines. Yeah, if you're complaining about women's wrestling, you should probably start watching it. There you go. Next up, we had a really cool promo from Shane Taylor on Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I'm not super familiar with Shane Taylor. That was a time in Ring of Honor where I wasn't watching a lot of it. But dude, this guy's promo was freaking awesome. I want to see this match.
So, disclaimer, I'm currently not subscribed to Honor Club. I'm not watching Ring of Honor, mostly because I'm having issues with the browser version of it. I just can't get it to work, and the support has not been very supportive.
Yeah.
So I'm currently not subscribed to Ring of Honor, and I have not watched Ring of Honor. So I know Shane Taylor's been around. I don't know how much he's been around. My initial reaction to this is this feels like a reach.
Okay.
I was kind of like, again, like, I'm okay with Ring of Honor talent being on AEW TV. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's not something that necessarily bothers me. I'm cool with it. I don't know if this match is caliber to make it to the AEW, like an AEW pay-per-view though. Like to my knowledge, there's almost no build here at all.
There is none other than he used to be the television champion back in the day.
Right, exactly. Well, what my point was is that I'm not watching Ring of Honor right now, so I don't know if there was build. But if there's no build at all,
True.
I don't know why this match would be on the pay-per-view. Maybe on the pre-show or the 0 hour or what the buy-in, whatever you call this one. It's all out, so I guess it's the 0 hour. I don't know. I'm sure this match will be good, but I'm left kind of like, I don't know if I would put that on the pay-per-view card.
No, see, that's where I said the pay-per-view looks a little Ring of Honor-ish, and I'm like, that's a match right there that, like, I would not have that on All Out. I don't know why it's there, but we'll see. All right, next up, we had Don Callis with Takeshita backstage, and dude, this was awesome. I don't know if I have ever seen this on a wrestling show. You were talking about earlier how we love how they use the managers in AEW. They had Don Callis with x-rays of Kenny Omega's joints, of his neck, of his knees, his back, and he's showing Takeshita, look here, here's Kenny's knees. He's got no cartilage. Attack the knees. Look here, here's his neck. I want this move done here at least 4 times. Like, this was so good. I loved every second of this. Just showing how Don Callis is the lowest of the low, using some, x-rays to show Takeshita how to take Kenny out. This was great. I fucking loved this.
Dude, this was This was so good. I love Don, like you said, just showing him the x-rays and like preparing for this match and like using again like the real like the thought process to be like, yes, you will hurt him. This is how wrestling moves hurt them. Love that. I love the end too, where Don's like, if all else fails, fucking stab.
Yeah.
And then I just love Takeshita's like,
the way Takeshita got into the camera, like all close up, that was awesome. Like, he's a very good heel. I like it.
Takeshita as a heel is a star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should absolutely be a top heel in the company at some point.
100%. Next up, we had the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass with their Trios Championship celebration. And there was a ribbon cutting ceremony for the brand new Trios titles that they unveiled that are the same championship belts, but with a pink strap. And the end of the pink strap are scissors, so you can make the belt scissor. I thought these belts looked awesome. Now, quick question.
Mm.
The belts that the Acclaimed were wearing as they came out were gold. Weren't these titles silver? Where did those gold ones come from?
So here's what I'm thinking. I think there was some issue. I think there was a communication. It was my bet.
Right?
So here's my thing. Odds are House of Black members are probably at Bray's funeral. So if House of Black had the old belts and they knew they were making new belts, you know what? No.
No,
The
they wouldn't have had them
continuity is
because they
weird.
should have took them from Wembley.
Yeah, that's true.
It was weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, I'm definitely you definitely got to knock them for that. It didn't make sense for them to have the gold belts just to get rid of them. Well, maybe
Yeah,
you could
so-
argue that like AEW was like, okay, well here's the belts. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was just
No.
odd. So like if the audience doesn't understand what I'm saying here, so the trios championships used to have silver plates. The whole thing was silver. There was no gold on it.
Well, it's because they were House of Black themed.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? But I thought they were always like that.
No, they weren't. So when
Oh, okay.
those
Then it
belts-
makes sense then. If those were the
belts-
House of Black theme belts, then those are gone now. Okay, that makes sense.
the belts that the Elite had are the same belts that the Acclaimed threw down on the ring today.
Oh, okay then. That's fine then. For some reason I thought the gray belts were the ones, or the silver ones had always been there. Okay. I was like, where did these gold ones come? Okay, now it makes sense. So yeah, no worries. All right. But this was great. I love the pink straps. My only complaint was the Acclaimed are wearing a lot of pink, and the pink strap compared to their pink did not look pink. It looked red, at least on my screen.
No, I think.
Did it look pink to you?
Yeah, it was pink.
Okay. Just
was
for
a
some
hot
reason on
pink.
my screen, like their pink was very like bright, vibrant Owen Hart pink, and that was like a very, one of those like electric, more metallic-ish pink looking, I guess.
The pink that they used for the belts definitely looks like a hot pink, but it was still pink, at least in my
All right.
So there were some people in the Discord, right? And the Discord was saying that they didn't like the design. They thought it was just being a meme. My point, my thing is that, well, they're not being a meme, it's their gimmick. Have you seen the Acclaim? Like that's their that's their gimmick. Like,
Yeah.
no one complained when the House of Black had changed the belts to these dark belts that they were using. Like, I get it. Like, if you don't like it, that's fine. If you don't like the design of it, like, I'm not a big pink guy either, but
I think
like,
they're gonna sell the crap out of them.
exactly. I think that the pink will work. The fact that they went with like a darker hot pink, I think makes it work. And then like, it's their gimmick. Like, it matches their attire. And then the scissors on the back. Like,
Dude,
hello.
If you're an Acclaimed fan with disposable income, you're buying this belt. The moment they put
I
this
don't
thing on the
know.
shop.
I don't know if anyone knows this, but the Acclaimed put out merch like this. This is their gimmick. This is what they do. So of course, they're like their custom belts would have scissors on it. Like, I don't know. To me, that was a no-brainer, and that it looks like if someone asked me to design an Acclaimed championship belt that they were going to use, it would be very, very similar to what the belts look like. Oh, I didn't see the scissors yet. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm a little behind on the feed. I didn't see it.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
But anyways, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird to like. So what? It's a meme now. It's like, no, it's their gimmick. Like,
Yeah, I like I said, if you're an Acclaim fan with disposable income and this belt hits the store, you're buying this. That's a really cool looking belt. I like it. And I kind of like that they stayed true to the original plate design. Like, they didn't change the plates. They just nice pink strap, the scissors on the back. I love the scissors on the back. Anybody that's got a problem with that, I'm like, tell me why, please, because I think that's a great, for a gimmick belt, which is what that would be if you're buying this belt. That's a little bit of a gimmick belt. That is a great addition to that belt. I love it.
and Jeff, I'll say this: if you have an issue with the Acclaim's title belt, well, quite simply,
We need some music for it. Come up with like a Send me like a little clip that you think should go with it.
I'll probably think of something.
All right. This was great. Yeah, loved it. By the way, not enough people are talking about Wembley, the Acclaim scissoring Julia Hart. That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Just wanted to put that out there.
It was, yeah.
Next up, we had the AEW International Championship, Penta El Cero M versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy coming out all taped up, looking like a freaking mummy out there with all the muscle tape on, the injury tape. He's selling injuries before the bell even rang. He's, holding his hips, his neck, and this match, man, was absolutely tremendous. I don't know what else Orange Cassidy has to do to win over some people. I think if you're one of the people that doesn't like Orange Cassidy, at this point, there is absolutely nothing that he could do to get you onto his side, because I don't think there's anything else left for him to do. This was incredible.
So first off, before I talk about Orange Cassidy, what's up to Colby Stogner in the
What
chat?
up, Colby?
What's going on,
MJF
Colby?
took the week off this week.
So MJF does have a little video package with Adam Cole on the show, basically kind of talking about the plans for them and like how they're going to defend the tag titles Sunday at All Out, and there's going to be a tournament to determine MJF's challenger at Grand Slam for the world title. But other than that, yeah, technically he's off, but he will be back. I think they said by All. Anyways, back to Orange Cassidy. So Jeff, here's the thing. There was a time where I would sit here and I would talk to you, and you would say something along the lines of, "Oh, he's never going to be anything. He's so skinny. He's so small. Can't do anything. It's just a gimmick." And this right here tonight is all you need to know about Orange Cassidy. Because, this man goes out there and has an excellent match against Penta. I love this match. This match was just so awesome. Orange Cassidy, for me, is pretty much the wrestler of the year for me. Colby in the chat says, "I know you're already pretty far into this review, so could you give me a very short recap of the show to where you're at right now?" I think it was a pretty match-heavy show. It was kind of disappointing in terms of a go-home show, but there was a lot of issues between the hurricane. Traveling was restricted. Bray Wyatt's funeral was today, so a lot of guys and girls weren't at the show tonight. Tony had to make a lot of changes. He also tweeted about somebody being ill, one of the better-known talents. So they had to make a lot of changes. So I would say this was a very good show in terms of the matches, but if you're looking for continuity or you're looking to be excited about the pay-per-view on Sunday, I don't think they achieved that. But in terms of in a vacuum wrestling show, it's some good match.
I'll give you a quick match rundown. Moxley defeated Commander in a great match that I recommend you see if you have the ability to. We also had Eddie Kingston defeat Wheeler Yuta. What's that?
I would say don't give results. Don't give results.
Okay, so you had Eddie Kingston versus Wheeler Yuta. I definitely recommend you see that one as well so far. Yep. There was Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker DMD in a trios match versus Emi Sakura, Marina Shafir, and Nyla Rose. Very good match. Definitely say you should check that one out. And then now we're at the main event, the International Championship, Penta versus Orange Cassidy, man. The chemistry in this, like Coog says in chat, was unreal. These two just, especially with the language barrier in between. I know Penta's getting good at English and stuff like that, but there's still a little bit of a language barrier. They fucking knocked this match out of the park. It had main event written all over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, there was some good promos too, Colby. So there was a few good promos. Yeah. So yeah, I would check the show out. But anyways, thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you hit the like button while you're here.
Like that Bullet Club logo.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I was gonna say, yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, keep coming back, man. Appreciate it. Anyways, Orange Cassidy and Penta was phenomenal. After the match, Orange Cassidy, he grabs a mic and a chair. He sits on the chair. He says, "I don't usually like to talk, I'm so tired. My body hurts. Every title defense, the backpack, it gets a little heavier. But you know what? I'm still here. This title means everything to me. This is AEW. He's like, this is for all the people that were told, like, I'm too small. I'm too skinny. I'll never be able to do anything. And, like, for me, number one, Orange Cassidy just low-key calling out Jeff, first of all. Secondly, I was on my feet, pacing around my room. And he says, I will defend this title as long as I want. Because I'm Orange Cassidy. And I don't have a catchphrase.
Dude.
And when I tell you, this man, this beautiful, beautiful man that is Orange Cassidy, I was watching it, and I'm like, this is my guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me not to say that he's just straight up, like, not, like, my favorite wrestler right now. You know, it's just, this guy is phenomenal in everything he does. The matches are phenomenal. They're excellent. I've continued to be on this hill, and some have come and joined me on the hill. Some still don't. I think Orange Cassidy is absolutely a world title caliber talent. Like, when casuals watch the show, they like Orange Cassidy the most. He draws the casual fan in. My wife, who does not understand the appeal of pro wrestling, loves Orange Cassidy. Like, everyone loves Orange Cassidy. If you don't watch the show, you love him. If you watch the show, the dude puts on excellent matches. Like, we're talking like year after year of him being in AEW. Like, my thing is, when is the disrespect going to be enough from the people that just disrespect Orange Cassidy? This guy is so talented. He puts on excellent matches. Orange Cassidy could go out there and wrestle a broom, and the match would probably be like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. He is excellent. And when he sat down and cut this promo, I was so surprised because I was not expecting it. And we end the night with a stare down between him and Mox. And when Orange Cassidy beat John Mox Sunday at all, I'm going to be so hyped and so happy.
Dude, this promo from Orange Cassidy was, in my opinion, his best promo ever. And, like, easily his best promo ever. If I'm not mistaken, was this the first time Orange Cassidy has ever grabbed a mic in the ring?
For the yeah, this is his first promo. This is like, he's done like little things where like he'll grab the mic and say like whatever, or like, I'll fight you, I don't care. But like, this was, he sat down on a chair in the ring.
Yeah, he's like, give me a chair. That was great.
And give me a chair and a microphone. Look, man, just put the sign up, Jeff, because if you don't see what I'm saying about Orange Cassidy at this point, that this dude is like, I'm going to continue to stan Orange Cassidy. That's just what it is. I agree with Colby as well. Orange Cassidy has evolved so much in the history of AEW. But like, everything about Orange Cassidy, you can see him on the bottom of our screen currently hanging in the glass of orange juice. Everything that this man does just brings my heart so much joy. Whether it be the fact that he's an Eagles fan and says "Go Birds" at the at the Philly shows, always makes me feel good, warms my heart that like Orange Cassidy is just on every level he checks the box.
Every single level.
Every single level. He's got like, and even like if you take me out of the equation, the dude's got an excellent gimmick that allows you to be fun in the ring. It's unique and yet it kicks ass. He's able to, go in almost any style, despite the fact that he is not a bigger guy. He has great matches with almost any kind of wrestler style wise. Like, he clearly can talk. You know what I mean? Like when Dev came over, when Dev has watched wrestling with me, right? Because Dev doesn't watch wrestling. We talk about this. Like, when Orange Cassidy comes out, Dev loves Orange Cassidy's entry. Because it's like, it's so hilariously like put a finishing move here on the video. It's like the white title card with one little pyro going off. You know what I mean? It's just like
the one little
like, I think that if there's anything to take away from this week, it's like, look at the week Orange Cassidy is about to have. On Sunday, he went out and had a stadium stampede, absolutely killed it, was a part of the match, but and was just phenomenal. Part of that crazy finish where he put his hand in the glass and Superman punched with the glass, or Orange Punch, excuse me. I acknowledge Orange Cassidy, absolutely,
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Here,
Um,
I put
and
the thumb up.
then he goes and does this, has a great match with a luchador with Penta, great promo, and now he's going to go have a match with Mox, which I am going to assume it's going to be a Mox style match. Fucking incredible. Like, just give Orange Cassidy his flowers already and call it a day.
So good, dude. Real quick for the end of this match here, there's a really cool spot where Orange Cassidy went for the Orange Punch. Penta basically super kicked the Orange Punch. Really cool spot. Hits the small package pile driver on the apron. The Fear Factor only gets a 2.999 because Orange Cassidy grabs the rope. Penta does the old arm snap on Orange Cassidy as well. Hits a second Fear Factor. Cassidy kicks out, but he immediately rolls up Penta in a beautiful crucifix. The transition from this pin to the crucifix was incredible. And Cassidy picks up the 1-2-3 with the roll up. And Penta was furious with the referee, saying it was only 2. But the referee said, "Nah, sorry, man. Sorry, it was 3." And this was great, and that's where Cassidy began to grab the chair and the mic to do his promo. Dude, I loved every single moment of Cassidy versus Penta. I love the Lucha Brothers. Absolutely love those guys. This was great, man. Love seeing Penta in the singles matches. He does fantastic. What more can you say?
I'm so tempted right now to go grab my wallet and pay $5 just so I can use the Orange Cassidy emoji because I want to use it so bad.
I almost did nothing but Orange Cassidy emojis, but then I thought I'd spread it around.
No, I think it's for the best.
Yeah.
Good to have a little bit of everybody.
All right, well, that does it for a slightly mediocre episode of Dynamite, but we've explained to you guys, what's going on. There was a hurricane in the area for some of the wrestlers. They couldn't quite make it. There was also Bray Wyatt's funeral that everybody was given the option to go to. So, don't critique the show too bad on the talent we had involved, but I think everybody involved did a great job for what they did tonight on the show.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. What do you have so far for Rampage?
So
or
for
whatever
Rampage,
we got.
Yeah. So for Rampage, we have the Ring of Honor Tag Team Battle Royal. This is a battle royal that the winners of the match will face MJF and Adam Cole at All Out for the Tag Team Championships. Some notable teams in there: Aussie Open, the Hardys, Gates of Agony are in there. The Dark Order's in there. Best Friends are in there. A few other little guys. For some reason, that Jeff team, Magnum, and the other guy are in it. I don't know why. The Righteous are in it. So that match is going on. Apparently, I saw on Twitter someone said it was a very good match. They also announced a tag match. I forget who it was exactly because my camera messed up, but it was like Sky Blue. It was a tag match with Taya Valkyrie and Anna Jay versus Sky Blue and someone else. So I don't remember who the other one. Hangman Adam Page will be in singles action against Brian Keith. Coming up on Collision, we have the Outcast versus Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida, and Chris Statlander. Dax Harwood in singles action versus Jay White. The Acclaim will defend the Trios titles against 2.0. At All Out, we'll get Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro. FTR and the Young Bucks versus Bullet Club Gold. Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. Those two matches are title matches. Better Than You Bebe defend their titles against the winners of the Battle Royal. Samoa Joe defends his Ring of Honor World Television Championship against Taylor. And Orange Cassidy will defend his international title against John Moxley. So real quick over in chat, Colby says, All Out coming up doesn't have super high expectations, at least not for me. So honestly, I think that it will be a great show and definitely deliver. Yeah, I think that in terms of the matches, I think this show is absolutely going to deliver. I think that there's a lot of things going against All Out right now. and I don't think all of them are fair, but it is what it is. I mean, number one, you just had people shell out $50 for the All In pay-per-view, and I could see a certain section of fans who don't want to spend $50 again at the next week.
Yeah.
I could see them looking at this card and being like, I can skip this. I don't think that outside of Kenny and Takeshita and Darby and Luchasaurus, because I think that match has a lot of good build up too. Again, don't get me wrong. I think like Orange Cassidy, John Moxley, that match is going to be fucking. I'm going to love that match. I already know I'm going to love that. There are definitely great matches on this card, but I can see a section of fans looking at this and just being like, I can't justify spending another $50.
Yeah,
I think that's a tough
$100
ask.
over 2 weeks is gonna be rough for a lot of people.
I think that's a tough ask, and I think it's not against the card itself, but there is a lack of one or two marquee matches that I think you'd want to see. Again, I would not have done that 8-man tag. I would have split those guys up and did more things. That's just me.
Yeah.
I think that you're also going to be hurt by the CM Punk Jack Perry stuff. I think there's no way around it, unfortunately. I think you want to have CM Punk and Ricky Starks on this card.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a strap match, and that would have been a really great match on this card that really would have had a lot of buzz to it. But now that match isn't there. So they're talking about adding Ricky Steamboat versus Ricky Starks. You know what'd be funny, Jeff? What if it's a swerve and Ricky Steamboat comes out and says, like, I accept the challenge on behalf of CM?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think is gonna happen.
I saw a tweet that was really funny. It's like, Tony Khan, being petty, should totally have Hangman step in to defend Ricky Steamboat's honor.
Oh wow.
Like, have Hangman be in the match instead of Punk. Like, that would stick it to. You want to talk about sticking it to CM Punk? That would stick it to CM Punk. Like, hey, you see this spot that was yours? We gave it to Hangman. So, yeah. But so
That would be
yeah,
funny.
I think that CM Punk not being there for the Chicago pay-per-view, that's going to hurt. I think that's going to hurt them. That the price tag following a previous pay-per-view, there is a stigma against Ring of Honor, which again I don't agree with. I think that it's okay to have these Ring of Honor matches, but my thing is there build to the match? I'm okay with Shane Taylor or Samoa Joe being on the card, but what did we do to justify this match happening? Where is the build on AEW television? If there is none, I'm going to take problem with it.
I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, all in all, I think this show is going to be great. And I'm sure we're going to get a few more things announced on Saturday. But, you know, the vibe is not where you want it to be for an AEW pay.
This is one of those that if you've never gone to a movie theater, and if you're probably going to be like watching it by yourself, I would recommend going to a movie theater for this pay-per-view. Like, it feels like that's what I want to do this time. I don't know about you. But if you've never done that, if you've never watched a pay-per-view inside a movie theater, I definitely recommend it, especially if you were going to order this yourself. Because it doesn't quite justify the $50 if you were going to split it with a bunch of friends, you know what I mean? But I think it's only, $25 to see it at the theater?
I don't know. I don't know what the price is.
Yeah, I forget what the price was, but I enjoyed it thoroughly the last time I did it. So, you know, if anybody has the option to do that, I would definitely recommend it for this one. That way you don't shell out that full $50. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight. You want to add anything else in here?
Yeah. Let's Coach says, yeah, the builds are the problems, are times with the Ring of Honor stuff, which is why it bugs me. Again, though, like, yeah. I don't think there's a problem with using the Ring of Honor brand on AEW. Like, I still don't see a problem. I think Tony Khan bought the company and practically merged it into AEW. Like, there is not a separate roster, really. Like, we see Ring of Honor, or we see people on Ring of Honor and Collision, like Diamante, Willow, etc., etc. Like these people show up on both, so I don't see a problem with it. Coog likes the theater experience.
Yeah, I know he goes a lot. Real quick, yeah. Drainmaker just put out a pretty cool tweet saying, Tony Khan must really like Commander. He's put him up against Jay White, Chris Jericho, Claudio, Phoenix, and now Moxley. Must be a project for the future. That's a great point right there.
Yeah, because people forget that, like, in AEW, like, a lot of these younger guys, they are going to take losses right now,
Yeah.
but they're building for tomorrow. You
The
know?
coach says he wants to see Athena more. Dude, when she moves up to the main roster, every one of
See,
these girls is going to need to step it up eventually.
I think you keep doing that, and you keep saying that, and I don't agree with that sentiment to say, like, moving up to the
Yeah,
main.
it's just the way I'm used to saying it. You know what I mean? It doesn't
I get
mean to
that.
come out that way, but I think she belongs on the main shows, if that makes more sense.
So, I mean, let me offer, like, a devil's advocate argument to why Athena is strictly on Ring of Honor. Um, so Athena right now is the best women's wrestler in the world. Would you
Mm-hmm.
argue that?
No, yeah, she's definitely in my top 3.
Okay. So Tony Khan is trying to sell the Ring of Honor brand. He bought the brand. He wants the brand to do well. Wouldn't you want someone like that can go and carry that division
Oh, absolutely,
and that
but
brand?
she's been doing it for a year. We don't want to Roman Reigns the girl, do we?
So, yeah, like, look, like, I'm not saying that, but if she's on Ring of Honor, killing it, and she's like one of the biggest reasons why people would stay subscribed to Honor Club, I can't blame Tony for keeping her on that brand. Now,
No, I
granted,
agree. I'm saying eventually, like she's eventually got to make it to Dynamite or Collision. Like you can't leave her on Thursday night forever. You can't.
for sure. But I think the way Tony looks at it is that right now I think Tony has plans for his 2 other titles that the women have, but he wants to give Athena her props and give her a world title because she deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's kind of funny because Coach's issue and other people's issue too, but we're Coach is part of the discussion right now, so I'm going to use him as the example. Coach's issue is that the Ring of Honor champions don't stay on Ring of Honor, but he's not happy that Athena is staying on Ring of Honor. You can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? Like you either
Yeah.
gotta be like you either gotta be upset that the Ring of Honor champions are all over AEW TV, or you gotta accept that Athena is not. And like I also can understand the counterpoint that it's like, well, if the other champions are on there, why isn't Athena on? And I don't have a straight up answer for that,
Yeah.
admittedly, but I would argue that AEW's women's division has 2 titles that the women chase. Do you want to put a third title on there? A third singles title for the women's division, which they don't have a lot of women, but then
No.
again, I mean most rosters don't. I think that's just factual. Almost every wrestling company, their men's roster
Yeah.
greatly outnumbers their women's roster. So you don't want to have 3 singles titles on AEW.
I like what Coach said there. He's like, if you're gonna keep putting Ring of Honor on my AEW TV, put Athena on there too. That's where I can agree with that. That would be a good
Oh,
way to
I
put it.
get it. I get it. But again, well, that's my follow up point. Is like, well, do you want Athena to drop the title? You want 3 singles titles to be featured on AEW TV with a roster of how many women are on the AEW roster?
No, yeah, I definitely want
13?
Athena to hold that title for a little while longer and then finally put somebody over and like, listen, I know we don't want to look at it like NXT, but it kind of just is the way it is. I would definitely like her to drop that title and move, to one of the other 2 shows, if not both.
Colby says Ring of Honor is AEW's version of NXT, so you need to have a few stars there to help catapult the talent and never get seen to another level. That way, an underrated star can get a massive win on a star like Athena. Again, that's true. I mean, we look at Willow Nightingale, her ascension, like Athena has been a big part of her ascension to stardom. Like
Absolutely.
that needs to be recognized, I mean, Athena's done great work in Ring of Honor, and it really helps elevate the what did I used to say, Jeff?
Dude.
Elevate and evolve. Like that was my old thing when elevation was a thing. It's like it's all about elevating the talent and evolving the talent. Right now, Athena is absolutely doing that. And if Athena is happy in that role, like who are we
I
to
agree
say
with that too. If she's happy there, by all means.
Athena seems thrilled. She's always at the media scrums and like she's always breaking character about how happy she is to be where she's at.
She's such a badass.
She's great. Yeah, Athena's great. She's absolutely incredible.
All right, that was a good little talk there. I like that one. I might have to make that into its own little video there. That was nice.
Sure.
You got anything else for us? Anybody else in chat got a question you guys want us to go over before we get out of here for the night?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
All right. Well, while we wait for chat to catch up with me on that question there, you want to go ahead and start closing us out?
Absolutely. Well, this has been episode 171 Broken Tables Podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us tonight. Thank you to Colby for coming and hanging out with us again, man. We really loved your discussion. We love having discussion with our chat, so please come back again so we can continue to talk pro wrestling. Thank you to the coach and Coog. Juhas was here earlier as well. I think that generally covered everyone that was here in the chat going along with us tonight. If I missed you, appreciate you regardless. Why don't you go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, so that we can get notified when our streams go live. You can also subscribe to become a member. You get some really cool little things. You get the arcade cabinet badge, so that way you can see that you're a member and how long you've been a member. You can start working towards that gold arcade cabinet. You also get access to some really cool AEW emojis, like Adam Cole Bebe, The Acclaimed, Orange Cassidy, and yes, even one Phil Brooks, CM Punk. Colby says, first episode of BTP, and I really enjoyed the pod tonight. Thank you so much, Colby. That means the fucking world to us.
Yes, thank you very much, man.
But anyways, we will be back on sometime this weekend for All Out. Figure out what we're doing exactly. When we know, you'll know. You follow us on our social medias in the description below. If you like video games, we also talk about video games here on the channel with the Game Room podcast. Each week, me and my co-host Devro, we talk about the world of video games and all the news you need to know about. Starfield's coming out with early access in a few days, and I am going to be diving into that. So if you want to hear what I think about Starfield, make sure you check back next week. It'll probably be Monday, maybe Tuesday because of the holiday. That's pretty much it. Until next time, catch you later.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for hanging out. Colby, again, thank you very much for the kind words. We love having new viewers here. And like you guys saw, we love interacting with you guys. It's a major part of our show. That's why we call ourselves the only fully interactive wrestling podcast on YouTube. You guys can catch us. What we're going to do Saturday night, right? Yep, because football's starting. So we will catch you guys Saturday night for the Collision review. Till next time, Top Guys out.